Israel has said it will reopen the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt for limited crossings on Monday after a nearly 2-year closure. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says movement in and out of Gaza will be subjected to Israeli security checks. The move will pave the way for some Palestinians who fled Gaza during the war to return home for the first time, and for some of the tens of thousands of people who need medical care to seek treatment abroad.
Ambulances waiting to take sick and injured Palestinians across the border into Egypt. It's still unclear how many Palestinians will be allowed to cross, but the number could be as low as 150 per day. Local health authorities say as many as 20,000 are waiting for transport. People like these dialysis patients.
The
Rafah border crossing's a lifeline for Gaza. It's a lifeline for us, the patients. We don't have the resources to be treated in Gaza. We have to go outside in order to get the treatment. This machine is just barely keeping me alive. We have to go outside to continue with our treatment journey.
Israel carried out system checks Sunday to prepare for the crossing's limited opening on Monday. A glimmer of hope for some.
God willing, they'll open the crossing because we really need it. There are so many sick people, including my father and mother. We demand that the crossing be opened because we need to evacuate people who need treatment.
Aid supplies are also amassing at the Rafah crossing. Currently, agreements call for as many as 600 trucks to pass the crossing per day. Aid agencies accuse Israel of obstructing deliveries of badly needed humanitarian aid. So far, there's been no word on whether aid will also be allowed to enter the territory freely.
Sam Rose is acting director of Gaza Affairs for UNRWA, the UN agency for Palestinian refugees. What is the likelihood of aid getting through?
The likelihood of aid getting through Rafah right now, we simply don't know. What we have been told is that in the first few days, in the first instance, the movement will be limited to passenger traffic. This will be pedestrians, people getting out will be, as your correspondent said, it will be primarily the sick and the injured, and also we'll be looking for people, many thousands of people wanting to get back in to Gaza. But Rafah was never the primary entry route for supplies, commodities into Gaza. There are other crossings where supplies can get through. But as we all know, access for supplies through whatever crossing point has been extremely limited over the course of this two-year war. And that's what's driven the population into famine. And that's what means that hundreds of thousands of people are living in utter misery, in swamps, in mud along the beaches, without adequate shelter materials or drainage equipment to live any kind of dignified lives.
So the need for aid is obviously dire.
Absolutely. I mean, we may have pulled back from famine, but the humanitarian catastrophe inside of Gaza continues to grow with every single day. Just 2 days ago, over the weekend, over 30 Palestinians were killed in a series of bombardments across the Gaza Strip. This at the same time that the population, 2.1 million people, waiting for bated breath for the ceasefire to move to the second phase and for the border crossing to open, which has human impacts in terms of people themselves being able to get in and out, families to be reunited, but also has a massive psychological impact because Rafah is the Gaza Strip's only lifeline, really, to the outside world.
How much difficult or more difficult is the situation getting for Palestinians and for groups like yours with more aid agencies being banned from entering, like Doctors Without Borders?
Yeah, look, right now we need to be scaling up services to the population of Gaza. The situation isn't stable, but it's stabilized to a degree. The aid organizations on the ground, such as my own, we have 11,000 staff. MSF, that has over 1,000 staff and decades of experience working in Gaza and in other similar environments. We know the terrain, we know the people, we enjoy the confidence of the population. But ourselves, MSF, and over 30 other reputable international NGOs are being squeezed right now. So at the very moment we need to be expanding our services, and we're in a position to do that, we are being squeezed. And that has immediate impacts on the misery and the lives of Palestinians. But it also does very little to convince the population on the ground, to give them confidence that the international community has their best interests at heart.
I'm in contact with a Palestinian stuck in Gaza, waiting over 2 years to get his wife into Egypt to treat her cancer. They've applied again to get through from today. How much longer will they be waiting to find out?
We don't know. I mean, I hope that everybody that needs treatment gets out as quickly as possible. We are right now talking about small numbers, at least in the first instance. And if you do the maths of 150 people per day and 20,000 people waiting to get out, we're talking several months. And many of these people, they're desperately sick, ill, injured inside of Gaza. They simply don't have that time. So what we've got to hope, and hopefully the pilot yesterday was successful, that once this gets up and running, the numbers of people who are allowed to exit and the number of people who are allowed to enter, that increases. Because if it doesn't, then, frustrations, unfortunately, inside of the Gaza Strip are going to grow. So this is a very positive development. We hope it goes well, and we hope we do see increases in those numbers, so that everybody who can get out, needs to get out, can get out before they suffer even more.
Sam Rose from UNRWA, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Journalist Karim El-Gawhary is based in Cairo. What are you hearing?
Yeah. Well, yesterday was the trial run. Today, apparently the real opening. We know of a list of people crossing approved by Israel and Egypt, but no details about the list. We have also first movement inside Gaza. We have convoys of ambulances with injured people and buses with their relatives. Each person is medically evacuated can bring 2 relatives. How many people are crossing is unclear. There is no confirmation by the Israeli army yet about numbers. There's a lot of talk in the media, some saying 150 people might cross from Gaza into Egypt. That would be 50 of the people that need to be medically evacuated, and then 100 of relatives accompanying them, and 50 people entering the Gaza Strip. On the Egyptian side, you have already people waiting in order to enter. What's important here, there's also an important limitation. Only people who left the Gaza Strip during the war can apply to re-enter. People who got stranded before in Egypt with the beginning of the war are not able to go back.
And let's talk more about those medical evacuations. What sort of situation are Palestinians facing there? We're being told tens of thousands need to be evacuated, but only a trickle, it sounds like, are going to be let through.
Well, first, it's quite a complicated process. I mean, there's the hospitals who have to write a referral for evacuation. Then it goes through several committees to finally end up with WHO in Gaza, which then is coordinating with the Israeli authorities in order to get an approval. So that's quite a complicated process. There is no automatic approval if there is a referral by WHO. The director of the Gaza Shifa Hospital is talking indeed about the number of 20,000 patients that got a medical referral from the hospitals and from WHO, among them 4,500 children. Now, when you take the number of, as it looks like, 50 people injured every day able to cross, you can calculate how long it will take. It will take, when you go with this rate, it will take months, many months, in order to evacuate these people. So on the Palestinian side, there is really a call to speed up this process.
Okay, and there are reports the Palestinian Committee of Technocrats who will help lead reconstruction in Gaza may also enter the territory soon. What can you tell us on that front?
Well, there's in the Israeli media talk that within the next days they might be able to go in. Of course, everyone is waiting because they are supposed to take over the administrative tasks from Hamas and start to organize that. It's a committee, I think, of 15 people led by Ali Shaath, who again in the last days emphasized the most important thing for their work is that there is a proper ceasefire, which he says there's not right now. And he's talking about the plans to carry out even works on the ground, focusing on first practical steps to preparing to take over direct administrative responsibilities. So we are expecting that this committee is going to cross over either today or the next days.
The latest there from journalist Karim El-Gawhary in Cairo.
You're welcome.